On 20 August 2023.
Can I ask that you start with the heading? Please read the heading.
Oh yeah, sorry. The heading is Beakley, anonymous emails.
I'm indebted. Can I ask you to detail for the Commission the events you set out at paragraph 74?
Okay, should I read them or just?
Please, in your own words, yes.
Okay. Commissioners, on the morning of the 21st of August, I woke up and I saw on my emails on my phone that was an email that had come through on the evening of the 20th August 2023, which came from a rather funny email address, which was beakley852@yahoo.com, but it also had a name stamp of beakley.ngxingxi. The email was sent to Jeff Wicks at News 24 with Ms. Kashega, Dr. Mashazi, Deputy Commissioner Spies, Chief Mapieye, Advocate Bihari, and myself copied. The email had a subject line that read favoritism, corruption. And it had as an attachment the charge sheet that I read yesterday for Brigadier Mkhwanazi. It read, "Hi Jeff, I'm reporting on the basis of anonymity. Some time ago you reported a very serious incident to one of our colleagues about one security firm called CAT VIP. The incident took place some time ago, earlier on during the year. My understanding is that a certain law firm was appointed to oversee the matter by charging Julius Mkhwanazi. According to a document in my possession, Julius Mkhwanazi was charged and his hearing was supposed to sit sometime in July this year. However, this did not happen. And as such, Julius Mkhwanazi has since not faced a disciplinary hearing. I suspect that the law firm that was appointed could have received something in return. Please report this to the media and shame the municipality for protecting corrupt officials. Please be careful, however, because Julius is highly connected with Matlala, who's also a suspect in the murder of Decoran Babita, together with the CFO. My case of unfair labor practice has also not been solved by the municipality or by Egoruleni. Please follow up on this as we need people like you to clamp down on corruption. I'm told from reliable sources that Imogen Mashazi, who's the city manager, is the one who's protecting Julius Mkhwanazi."
Thank you. The email you've referred to is annexed there as PN12 at paragraph 77 of your witness statement. Could you then carry on and set out for the Commission the events subsequent to you receiving that email?
Yes. Commissioners, I read this in the morning and I called Chief Mapieye because he was also copied on the email, he indicated to me that he has not seen the email. I think he was on his way to drop off somebody at school. It was early morning. He had not seen the email as yet. And I did not respond or not have an opportunity to properly consider the email because I was a witness on that day. I was a witness in a labor dispute that involved an unfair dismissal case against the municipality. So I went to my arbitration where I was a witness, and indeed we commenced and we proceeded. During a break in the proceedings, where the legal teams were busy with engagements on some documents that the commissioner had directed them to clarify, I noticed that I had a missed call from Ms. Kasheka, and as I was checking my phone, saw that there was a missed call, and then she called again. And I indicated to the commissioner that I need to take this call. It's from my supervisor, and the commissioner allowed me to take the call. When I stepped out to engage with Ms. Hlongwane on the call, she instructed that I must come to Germiston. I was in Benoni where the hearing was held. I need to come to Germiston, and I need to come to Germiston with immediate effect. Indicated that I am a witness in an arbitration and I can't just up and go. You know, she said, doesn't matter. You need to be here, and you need to be here now. Okay, where here exactly? You need to be at the city manager's office. I said, okay, fine, let me see what I can do. I engaged the legal rep of the municipality to say that it seems there is an emergency, therefore I need to rush to Germiston. Fortunately, the commissioner is a well-versed person who has been part of the bargaining council panel of commissioners for a while, and he understood my role in the municipality. He then allowed that I should depart the arbitration proceedings. We were almost at the conclusion of the evidence in chief, so I could depart, and if I'm able to, I should indicate whether I'll be able to come back and finalize my evidence in chief on that Monday. This was a Monday. I then left. On my way, I got a call from the attorney that had been appointed to prosecute in the matter of Julius Mkhwanazi. And he indicated to me, hey, there's a problem. He has just received a call from Advocate Kemi Behari instructing him to drop whatever he's doing and to come to Germiston. And he reflected that, but firstly, I'm not an employee of the municipality. I cannot just be instructed to drop everything I do. I've got other clients. And as a matter of fact, he's outside of the Gauteng province, busy with another matter for another client. And I was like, but what did he say is the problem? You know, because I've also been instructed to come to Germiston. He indicated that the problem that Advocate Behari told him is an emergency, is this issue of the Beetle email. And that Advocate Behari has accused them, as the attorneys, of leaking Julius Mkhwanazi's charge sheet. And he was like, but this is absurd. You know, we do our work, we're professionals. We've submitted the charge sheet to the municipality. You know, that is our work, and we've requested the municipality to facilitate the serving of the charge sheet. So you can't come back to us and say there's a leak, and therefore the leak has been done by us as the attorneys. You know, I was like, hey, you know what? I have been called. Let me go and hear what is happening. But he confirmed that indeed he was confronted by Advocate Behari regarding the leakage or leak of the charge sheet. I went to the city manager's office, and upon arrival, I did not find Mr. Sheka, and I was told by the personal assistant that I should wait. There's a waiting area. I should wait. She'll contact Mr. Sheka. I was like, but the person phoned me and said that she's here. I'm still busy in another process, so what's happening? I said, DH, I don't know what's happening. I advised that to simply wait. I waited for what seemed like about 45 minutes before indeed Ms. Hlongwane arrived. And when she arrived, she was with Advocate Behari. And then I was ushered into the boardroom of the city manager. At the boardroom of the city manager came in as well, had some documents on her hands. We sat, I think I sat next to Advocate Behari. Ms. Hlongwane was opposite, the city manager was at the head of the table. It's a conference table. And it was like, yeah, what is this thing of this Beetle? Like, okay, what Beetle? What are you talking about, Sam? Yeah, no. You know, you have leaked the charge sheet of Julius to the media. I have leaked the charge sheet of Julius. Where does that come from? No, the charge sheet was given to your office that yes, all charge sheets are given to my office. You know. Yeah, Kemi, tell him. And Kemi was like, yes, we called the attorney. The attorney said they emailed the charge sheet to you. And I said, yes, of course they emailed their charge sheet to me. All charge sheets get emailed to me. So there's nothing new. But now the charge sheet is found in the Pickle email. But that doesn't mean that it was me, because as much as it was emailed to me, I was not the only recipient of that email. The email had other people as well, people from the department who had worked on the matter. Even my manager, the final charge sheet was also emailed to my manager, was going to facilitate the serving of the charge sheet.
When you say that email, are you referring to the email from the attorneys? No. Which email?
Yeah, the email from the attorneys. So, thank you, Commissioner. Not the big email. The email from the attorneys on the 20th of June. You know, the final draft of the charge sheet. So I indicated that, but this email was sent not only to myself, not only to my manager in my office, but it was also sent to the colleagues in the department that the attorneys were working with in the crafting of the charges. You know, so there's a multiplicity of people that would have had access to the charge sheet. No, but that's wrong. You know, Dr. Mashazi charged that. No, but that's wrong. You know, you can't have that. I'm like, but that is how it's done. The department is the one that must make the case. They are the ones that must be also comfortable.
What was she saying was wrong?
What she said, it was wrong that the charge sheet could have been sent to other people.
Okay, all right.
You know, she argued that no, but that's wrong. You know, how can you have such a thing? I'm like, no, city manager, you must understand. As much as my office must facilitate the serving of the charges, but the people that must make the case in a disciplinary hearing is the department, not my office. The people that are going to witness, the people that are going to talk to the evidence is the department. So the department works closely with the prosecutor in the crafting of the charges, because the prosecutor is going to require them to be witnesses in the matter. So they need to have sight of what exactly are the charges, so that they can be in a position to comfort themselves that indeed we can speak to these issues. Because it won't make sense. You know, you go, you draft a charge sheet, your witnesses can't talk to the charges. You know, is that so? She then confirms it with Advocate Behari, who also confirmed that, yeah, it is correct that indeed we need to engage with the department. So then the allegation now, the accusation, let me not say the allegation, the accusation changes to say, if it is not you, then it's somebody in your office who has leaked this. If it's not somebody in your office, then it's somebody in the department that has leaked this. So I get instructed that I must provide Advocate Behari with the emails that were shared by the attorneys, so that they will conduct an investigation on this leak. So no, it's fine. I mean, emails are emails. I'll send them through to Advocate Behari.
By that, do you mean email addresses to which?
No, the actual email.
The attorneys, the actual. Okay. Let me finish what I was saying. By emails, do you mean the email addresses to which the attorney's email was addressed?
What was required of me was to, because they needed to see the email thread, you know, in terms of who would have been emailed. They wanted to see the actual email. So I was to then forward the email thread so that they can be able to ascertain who exactly would have had sight of the charge sheet. You know. So I agreed. I said, no problem, I will do that. I'll just get back to the office and I will attend to that. You know. Then Advocate Behari explained something that was a bit off for me. You know. Now you must understand, DH, we liked calling people by titles, Commissioner. So when we're in a room, there are HODs, CM, and a DH. So you must understand, DH, that, you know, this is a very serious matter. I'm like, okay, what is the serious matter, advocate? Says, no, what is serious is the fact that Mkhwanazi's personal details on the charge sheet. And therefore, this thing of the charge sheet been given to Jeff Weeks, who is an external party to the municipality, is a violation of his rights in terms of the POPI Act. Okay? And therefore, I'm like, okay, I understand that, but there are issues that are also raised.
And what were the personal details on the charge sheet?
The personal details on the charge sheet,
to assist you, Mr. Ngqiza,
yes.
The charge sheet is annexure PN10. It starts on page 292 of your annexure bundle, 292.
When you look at page 292, and this is the funny part, commissioners, it's the disciplinary hearing with the case number between the City of Ekurhuleni Municipality and Julius Mkhwanazi, employee number IGE 0120. Those are the only details on the charge sheet. You know, this can be contrasted with the details that will be on a on a suspension letter. The details in a suspension letter are more, you know, than this. We have all sorts of things in the suspension letter, including ID numbers and the likes. But in a charge sheet, we don't put what would be termed personal details, because an employee number is an institution detail more than anything else. But this was the allegation that was put to me to say, you know, this thing has got personal information of Mr. Mkhwanazi, and therefore the municipality is running the risk of a POPI Act allegation or claim against it.
Based on your HR experience, and you have vast experience indeed, would this employee number be of any possible use or significance to people outside of the municipality? I'm trying to understand why Advocate Behari would have been concerned about such information.
At the very most, not at the very least, at the very most, what you would do with a pay number is when an employee, for instance, applies for a loan. You know, then they want information about your employer and your employment details, so that when a bank or any other service provider wants to verify your employment, then they can then use both your employee number with the employer, as well as your other details like your ID numbers and the likes. You know, but ordinarily when they do a verification exercise, it's not just the pay number that is used to verify that indeed this is the employee that we're talking about. Because pay numbers, you know, especially in an institution as big as Ekurhuleni, get used all over the place. You know, we use pay numbers in all sorts of documents. You know, so it's easy for a person to pick up another person's pay number.
Oh, thank you. I hope you still remember where you were. Please continue.
Sorry, Miss.
I'm saying I hope you still remember where you were. Please continue.
Mr. Ngqiza, you were at paragraph 84 of your witness statement.
Yeah, in the situation in that meeting, quite honestly, was hostile. You know, I was under attack, and I had to push back. I had to push back to say, but even this issue of the personal detail, you know, my understanding is that there is no significant personal detail that is on a charge sheet, that would really compromise the institution. And also, I had to push back on these allegations of leaks. I defended my office. I said, you know what? I know my office has dealt with thousands of charge sheets over the years. And we've dealt with quite high-profile matters where even you had tender irregularities that would be brought, contraventions of the MFMA, serious contraventions of the Municipal Finance Management Act that we have had to deal with as the office. So for me, it didn't make sense that there would be a leak from my office on a matter of this nature. So they then took a view, the city manager now changed the issue to now raise questions about my authority to appoint lawyers and legal representatives. And I answered to say, but this has been the authority of the Director of Labor Relations since the commencement of the municipality in 2000. It's more than 2 decades that we've had this situation in the municipality. No. But Julius is a senior employee. He's a senior person. You can't be disciplining him. You can't discipline Julius. I was like, but I've disciplined people that are senior than Julius. I've disciplined people that are on a senior position, a senior rank than Julius, both in the EMPD and in the institution. No. This is wrong. Why do you even have authority to appoint attorneys? But I've got authority as given by your office. And that authority has been there, even for my predecessors. They've always had authority to appoint lawyers in matters concerning labor litigation as well as internal disciplinary proceedings. This has happened with many cases.
Did she suggest who, if not you, should discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi?
She did not suggest who should discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi, but what she did was to say this must change. To which Mr. Shega then responded to say, yes, we're in the process of changing it. I had to pose the question, is it changing because of this matter? All sorts of other matters have been handled throughout the history of the municipality, and there was never a need to change something that has been with the employee relations unit.
In terms of the hierarchy, where you have touched on this, but just in this context and to remind myself, where would you place yourself in relation to the city manager? How many places down would you be? Well, I just want to get an idea who then would be better placed according to the city manager to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
In a hierarchical arrangement, if the city manager was number 1, then the HOD would be number 2 or be number 3. That's how the structure is in the municipality. You'll have the city manager, you've got HODs, then you've got divisional heads.
Meaning somebody like Brigadier Mkhwanazi would then have to be disciplined either by the HODs or the city manager herself, according to what the city manager was saying.
According to what she was saying in that meeting, which does not align to the delegations matrix that is informed by, like I indicated earlier on, that you've got effectively 3 dispensations on discipline management that were applicable in the municipality. You've got the city manager and HODs disciplined in terms of the disciplinary regulations. The divisional heads are disciplined in terms of Schedule 8 of the Labor Relations Act. And then you've got everybody below the divisional heads who were now part of the bargaining unit. Mkhwanazi was part of the bargaining unit. The authority of the divisional head employee relations in terms of discipline management applies both to Schedule 8 discipline processes, as well as the bargaining unit. So as the divisional head employee relations, the only people that I was not authorized to appoint a disciplinary tribunal for is HODs and the city manager. But everybody else in the institution, I was authorized to appoint a disciplinary tribunal for. And I, not only myself, my predecessors, you know, there's precedents all over the place that points to the divisional head having the authority, and it has always been exercised by the divisional head. At no point was there an issue, at no point whatsoever in the history of the municipality until in the meeting of the 21st of August, 2023.
And in fact, I think there was something wrong in the language used by the city manager, because on my understanding, but you'll correct me, it is not as if, for example, in the case of Brigadier Mkhwanazi, you were disciplining him as such. You were packaging the documents that would then be used in the disciplinary process. Am I correct?
Yes. You're correct, Chair. You're correct, Chair.
And on my understanding again, when it came to who would sit or chair a disciplinary hearing, if it was internal, you said it would be someone 2 places senior to the person being disciplined. And then, if not done internally, then a tribunal would be appointed and outside people would then get involved. So you are not disciplining as such someone senior to the person being disciplined. If, for example, Brigadier Mkhwanazi's matter was to be heard internally, it would not be heard by you. You would not chair the process. But someone, did you say 2 places? Someone above, whatever the levels, someone above Brigadier Mkhwanazi would have had to chair. You want to comment?
You are very much correct, Chair. You are very much correct. In this instance, the provisions of clause 7.6 of the disciplinary procedure collective agreement would apply because that will be the default position where now I'm appointing an internal. In the instance of Brigadier Mkhwanazi, the only post designations in the municipality that would have been able to chair and effectively discipline would have been senior executive managers who are on C18, would have been divisional heads, you know, who are also above C17 because he was on C17, divisional heads, or else an HOD. You know, all of these would have then been senior to him, and in effect, in terms of the disciplinary code, would have had the authority to then sit and preside over his matter and discipline him. We are quite spot on in that particular respect. Outside of that, then it would be an external legal practitioner who then would not fall within the rank system of the municipality. You know, the hierarchical system of the municipality, it's a legal professional who is competent to then exercise the function of discipline.
And did you get to know the nature of what Mr. Sheka said they were putting together?
Oh, yes.
In order to amend what was in existence so that you should not discipline someone like Brigadier Mkhwanazi?
Yes, we got to know. We got to know the very next day. We got to know the very next day. I mean,
yes,
the decision.
Very briefly, can you state what this innovation was?
It's in the papers. It's in my statement.
Oh, okay. You're still coming there?
Yes.
Okay, let's leave it.
Thank you, Chairperson.
On this topic that you're discussing with the Chairperson, Ms. Ngwiza, at paragraph 89, this is where you explain your responses to the city manager in that meeting. And then it is the second part of that paragraph 89 that I think you should explain to us what exactly you were referring to when you say I had done cases that the city manager had instructed action.
Yes.
Can you just explain a bit more there?
I can explain this by way of example, without mentioning names of people. In the Economic Development Department, there was a divisional head who had misconducted themselves. I don't want to use the gender so that, misconducted themselves. And then the head of department, in line with a directive that I mentioned yesterday, that the city manager had issued in 2017, this head of department then did a motivation to institute an investigation. That motivation was taken via my office to the city manager, because the city manager had said, we can't investigate a divisional head without her approving that. Then we submitted that motivation asking for an investigation to be conducted. The city manager approved the conducting of that particular investigation. The investigation was conducted. After the investigation was conducted, another report was submitted to the city manager to say, here is the findings. We are now asking permission to discipline. And the city manager was like, sure, proceed. I then appointed the disciplinary committee. So that's what I mean by it's effectively any instruction that firstly proceed with the investigation and proceed with the disciplinary proceedings. It was not an HOD that signed or appointed. I appointed the attorneys with full knowledge of the city manager. And this is a position that is higher than the Julius Mkhwanazi position.
And the city manager did not have any issues with the fact that you've appointed attorneys. You've exercised the power to appoint attorneys.
Madam Commissioner, like I said yesterday, this came out of the blue, even with regards to the discipline of heads of departments. And during the tenure of Dr. Mkhwanazi as the city manager in Ekurhuleni, we've had about 5 instances where we had to discipline heads of departments. And in all those instances, as much as the appointment letters were signed by her, they would be crafted by me, because it's in my space. I would be the one that then crafts the appointment letter with even inquiries, would be myself, indicating that for this particular matter that has been approved by council, where council has now mandated the city manager to institute disciplinary proceedings, we are appointing this firm as prosecutors. So my role has always been very intricate in all discipline management processes. And that is the only instance where I would then draft the letter for her signature. But all others, I draft the letter, or my office drafts the letter for my signature. I appoint attorneys.
Thank you, Mr. Ngqiza.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Ngqiza, before we continue with the subsequent events of that day, could I just ask you to turn back to paragraph 85? You're on page 27. And you set out some reflections in paragraph 85. Can I ask you to share those with the Commission?
Oh, thank you. Yes, Commissioners. I want to stress to the Commission that by virtue of my role in the city of Ekurhuleni, where I am responsible for discipline management, and anybody, commissioners, that has been in a labor-intensive environment would understand and appreciate that discipline management is a very tricky, sensitive function. You get exposed to all sorts of things as a person who is regarded as umqashi. You are regarded and even colloquially called umqashi as the head of labor relations.
You want to translate umqashi?
Employer, the employer. People have that tendency. And remember, indeed, you become the employer because even though you don't chair the disciplinary hearing, you are the one that implements the outcome. A chairperson of a disciplinary hearing will make a finding of guilt and then issue a sanction of dismissal. You, as the divisional head employee relations, are the one that must sign the dismissal letter. It is employee relations that will then issue the termination to the employee. That you've been found guilty in this case, attached is the sanction from the presiding officer, your services are terminated. So you are always going to find yourself in the firing line. You're going to find yourself in the firing line. I have, over the years, like I indicated yesterday, that even before I assumed the function of divisional head in 2017, I had acted and I was always involved, in discipline management from a very early stage of my management career. So I was always in the firing line. I've had a lot of defamatory claims and allegations made against my person, on social media. There's been instances where my name would be the subject of even engagements in trade union meetings. I've been threatened with harm and insults, and I've never received, save for something that I will engage on later on, save for an incident that happened in 2011, which was a very unique dispensation that occurred in the municipality that changed even our labor relations and dispensation in the municipality in 2011. But I've never received any intervention from the employer. I've never sought, let me be upfront, I've never sought intervention. I've never gone and cried foul to the employer to say, hey, you know what, these unions, these employees are threatening my life. I've never cried foul. These are risks that I understood and accepted as being part of my job. If you are going to be in a labor relations environment, you are going to be bruised here and there. But in all of that, I was shaken by the emerging pattern of interference that emerged with specific regard to this matter. I had said yesterday, I have served under about 5 city managers. Dr. Mkhwanazi would have been the 5th city manager of the city of Hlongwane. None of them has ever interfered with labor relations functions. None. Dr. Mkhwanazi herself, in her first term of office, she served 5 years from 2016 December until around about 2021 November. She had never interfered on very serious matters, inclusive of even matters that involve HODs. Would constitute, she would sign the appointments of the attorneys. I would work with the attorneys or advocates in crafting charge sheets against HODs. I would facilitate the serving of those charge sheets, and I would facilitate the dismissal hearings of those HODs. Senior people to me, but my office would facilitate because that's our role as labor relations, And I've never received any form of interference whatsoever from the office of the city manager. City manager's role was to say, how far are we? Give me a briefing, what's going on? Are there challenges? If there are challenges, I would escalate them to her. Not even to the HOD HR, directly to her.
So her interference in Brigadier Mkhwanazi's disciplinary matter, was the first and last?
It was the first.
And last?
Well...
No, to your knowledge, or whilst you and her were involved within the municipality?
Remember, we are now on the 21st of August. 2 weeks thereafter, I get suspended. So what if indeed there is any other further interference, I'm no longer in the picture to deal with that.
All right, thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
For the first time, I experienced a situation wherein senior management, and I'm going to articulate this further and more succinctly when I deal with what I would call the cover-up. senior management, for the first time, was hell-bent on protecting an employee, regardless of procedures of the municipality and processes of the municipality. Senior management acted as if they are shop stewards of this employee.